What is up, guys? Once again, we are back again with an all new video. This is JD Rich coming back at you with another One Piece discussion and review. We are here with 11:59 now. This has got everybody's buzzing. This has got everybody turning up, man. And also, I gotta say, I've developed a newfound empathy for Marshall D. Teach, or Davy D. Teach, you know what I'm saying? But let's just get straight into it. So we are at 39 years ago at Hachinosu at Beehive Island. See, it's a rainy day. I guess it's storming outside and whatnot, you know. You got the Rocks Pirates all gathered around discussing the tragic events of a certain someone's abduction. And also we find out that it's an inside job, obviously, right? Now, as we see all the Pirates of Rock's crew scrambling about, panicking, you know what I'm saying, mad and actually distraught because of Shaki's disappearance and sudden abduction and kidnapping, we pan over, man, and we see Wang Zi counting paper. Wang Zi is out there counting bread in front of everybody, gleefully smiling, because get this, Don Morlone was also murdered in the process. He was also off screen and killed. So this leads me to know that not only did Wang Zi do this, right? He not only kidnapped Shaki, but he killed Don Merlone. Now, what you gotta wonder, man, why would he kill Don Merlone? What would be the purpose behind this? Aside from the obviously berry, you know what I'm saying, the money that he collected, but was the money solely from him killing and claiming the price on Don Merlone's head? Or was it both? Like, was it both the money he got paid for not only killing Don Merlone, but also kidnapping Shaki and selling it to the government as well? He could got paid for both. Either way, this man is eating right now. He got paper. Everybody's around panicking. He's the one just gleefully smiling, counting his berry money, counting his bounty, just enjoying himself. Now, why did he kill Don Merlone? This is what, because I don't think it was out of a mere fact that he just didn't like him. I really don't. I think it has more to do with probably Don Merlone possibly discovering that he was a traitor or a rat. Or if not that, just Don Merlone probably discovered him trying to take Shaki. Who knows? But because who really knows, man? But I got a feeling that Don Merlone probably either confronted him about trying to take Shaki or just confronted him in general about possibly being a traitor and also selling out the crew to the government. It's like, you're the one who's been putting the government on our heels. Every time we do a raid, every time we go plunder, and the Navy is always there, you have to be the rat. Cause look, Don Merlone is a mafia guy. And one thing about them mafia guys, when they snuff out a rat, they snuff them rats out, if you get my drift. And also, man, looking at the reactions of everybody here, it's really, everybody's really just in distraught because of this. And also Gloriosa, man, there's a panel of Gloriosa just crying, like panicking, crying. And I can completely understand, like your former vice captain got abducted like this and you couldn't do nothing about it. Like, that's got to eat at you. That does have to eat at you. And now, moving on, man, we get Roger's reaction. He's calling, Roger is furious. Roger is furious. He does not want to hear it for real. And on top of that, he's actually mad at Rocks because he's wondering how could something like this happen under his nose, like happen on his island like that? How could you really let Shaki get kidnapped? And it's like you live on the Beehive of Pirates. How does that happen? How? You know? So we have yet to still discover that confrontation because this is just building up. And I don't think that Shaki being kidnapped is going to be the initial, how can I say, precursor for them fighting. I think something else is going to lead into it. But Shaki is just something that caught both of their, Shaki being abducted is what caught both of their attention enough to bring them together, you know, on God Valley. Because we later find out Rox's real intentions behind going to God Valley, when I'm going to get into that too. Now, it says that Shaki, you know, she was kidnapped, of course. It said that the world's economy also came to a halt The world's economy really came to a standstill due to this, man. People all over the world were reacting to the bad news of Shockey getting kidnapped because nobody, the Kuja pirates, they were adored. They were enamored and just loved by the people. Simply, I don't think not only because of their beauty, but because of who they were as people and I guess women, empresses, I guess. Even though there were certain members of the crew who were designated empresses, I still believe that they still had a good rapport with the public people, despite them being a pirate band of women. Now, we later on move on to the Holy Land, I guess. We move on to God Valley. We actually go forward to God Valley, right? I gotta say, man, I knew this guy that we all know, the figuring patriarch, you know what I'm saying? The figuring punk patriarch. We all knew this guy was a scumbag. We all knew this guy was like a total jerk. I'm trying to use nicer words. I mean, we like, bro, dude is a gump. Dude is he's a sociopath, man. Because one, we see Shanks and Shamrock's mother. Now, we have yet to get introduced to this woman, like as well as another woman that we meet down in the later panel boxes. But Oda needs to give us their names already because we're tired of waiting at this point. If you're gonna keep doing this, give us the name already at least. Now, we see the Figurlin patriarch, the a-hole of the Figurlin family, because I really don't like this character. I really don't like this dude. But you know what I'm saying? He's a privileged noble brat. You know what I'm saying? And that is Garling. We get Garling talking to his baby mama because he didn't make this woman her wife, but yeah, he didn't make this woman his wife. But we get Garling talking to this woman, and yet you see a panel of the woman telling Shanks and Shamrock, "Oh, look, it's your daddy. Look, oh my goodness, Garling, you came back. Look, why don't you settle down and live with us here?" Garling, with a shrewd smile, says, as if, not as if, but I'm paraphrasing. He says, "No, I would never settle down with you in a place like this. And besides, this is not the type of formal home that I plan on staying in. And on top of that, this whole island is going to be erased." She's like, "Wait, what are you talking about? What are you..." Like, before she could even utter out the rest of her in question thoughts of his comments, this man stabs her. This man stabs the mom right then and there. And then you see the babies clearly crying in pain because, babies are they can feel babies can feel a sense of their mom's pain. They can. Now, we obviously see them wailing because Garling just stabbed her. Now, what I want to know is this, though. What did Garling do with those boys? Or did he take them at all? What happened? Because I got a feeling that, because Garling mentions that, I found a wife who's actually suitable for me and that I plan on claiming if I ever should prevail in the rabbit hunting tournament. So Garling spared no expense telling Shanks and Shamrock's mom that he already has a wife already picked out in mind, and she's going to be the prize at the rabbit hunting tournament. And if Garling should prevail, he will have her and move to the Holy Land. He's not living in God Valley with you, raising these two boys. And I think that Garling genuinely, something tells me that Garling loves his children out of a selfish fact that he procreated them with this woman so he can raise them how he wants to. But then he goes and stabs her and left her there dead in the street, damn near. Or so Garling thought. Because we later on we're gonna see her again. But moving forward, man, and we see baby Shamrock and Shanks. What's crazy about, one thing that sticks out to me with the babies, the twin boys sitting in their carriage looking at Garling, you see Shamrock reaching out with both arms. You see Shanks just waving, all carefree. This is so in tune with their personality, even though we have yet to see their personalities, but knowing Shanks, this is very in tune with his personality and character. Just a carefree, one way, hey, daddy, casual. Then you got Garling really getting excited. But that just shows the relationship that that just shows more connection to Garling and Shamrock. Because remember, I think it shows more of their bond in a way. You see that Shamrock actually really favors Garling in a way, reaching out with both arms, hoping to be, because they both love their babies. They both love their mom. You know what I'm saying? Naturally, right? The woman that breastfed you when you came out. But seeing their dad, that's a whole new excitement. And given that Shamrock is reaching out with both arms, you know, that tells me that Garling has spent time with these twins before. He spent time with them before, and it may have been short time spent because we know Garling was away handling celestial and noble business and whatnot. So it's not like he was around them 24/7, but he was around long enough for the babies to actually get an impression that he is their father. So when we later meet Shamrock, man, and it says that he's the son of Garling, you know, we obviously come to find out that Shamrock was the one raised under Garling while Shanks was raised under Roger. So Shamrock's loyalty and dedication to Garling. Forgive me, man. I'm trying to get through this. Shamrock's love and dedication to Garling, we can suspect is like tenfold. It's up there like tremendously. And because we have yet to see more interactions between them in the Holy Land, especially of how Shamrock, because that's one thing I'm curious about. We pretty much almost know, you know, Shanks was raised by Roger on the Oral Jackson as well as trained by Roger. And I would assume Rayleigh and Odin as well. There's no way that Shanks didn't learn anything from them as well. But we know Shanks' background. We kind of know Shanks' background as far as who he was raised by. But yet, we have yet to see the dynamic between Garling and Shamrock. And I know for a fact that Shamrock was probably spoiled. We know Shamrock was the spoiled brat. But that's what he was groomed and turned into due to Garling. If Garling never raised either, imagine both of these twins getting raised by Roger, or not even just Roger. Imagine Shanks still being raised by Roger, and yet Garling gets raised by another humble family or whatever. I think Shamrock raised by a humble family or whatever. But I think Shamrock would have turned out better being raised by complete strangers than he ever did being raised by Garling. Because he just became another world noble prick. That's just what it is, man. So you can't really distinguish. I don't know, man. It's just something about it that just doesn't sit right with me. Now, what else? What else do we do? Moving forward. Oh yeah, moving forward. Because I got it right here, guys. I'm trying to just make sure I got my recap straight. Moving forward, we see that Garling is actually announcing the preparations for the rabbit hunt. So basically, he's deploying soldiers, deploying agents to basically do the dirty work and round up these citizens and the inhabitants of God Valley. Because if you resist, you're getting killed, and if you don't resist, you're going to be turned into a slave. But also, not just to be a slave, you're going to be a victim of this rabbit hunting contest that they're pulling off, and they're using this country's inhabitants to do so. So it's very sick, you know what I'm saying? It's very crazy, but in the midst of him deploying Marine soldiers and even agents, right? We see a young rookie Marine Dragon, and Dragon, man, Dragon isn't just blindly following orders. He's following orders, but not without question, you know? He's wondering like, yo, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to harm them? Why can't we use tranquilizers? What's going on? What is this all about? You know? And Dragon is getting talked down upon by his superior, I guess what would be his Marine superiors in a way, because Dragon is just not with the slaughter. He's not with the unnecessary slaughter of people. And Dragon is just wondering, yo, what is the purpose of this mission, sir? Shut up, cadet! You shut up, private! You just pick up that rifle and you use it on these citizens and you get them subdued. That's my drill sergeant voice. But still, it's like, it's a Full Metal Jacket situation in a way where there's no private pile, but Dragon is essentially questioning the authority, their own authority of what they're doing on this island. And I don't blame Dragon. How could you? You know, this is the man who would lead, because it says in the title box, father of Luffy and future leader of the Revolutionary Army. We can most definitely agree that the catalyst behind Dragon taking these actions at God Valley, that plays a major catalyst into why he became a revolutionary. This is like, I'm not saying this is solely the reason, but this is a major part of why. And also, I'm suspecting and predicting that Dragon gets his fruit around this time. Now we haven't seen him get it yet, obviously, but given that everything that's about to happen that is going to unfold at this rabbit hunting contest, which will be interrupted by Roger's arrival, Rock's arrival, even Garp's arrival. Oh, we can safely assume Dragon is going to get his double fruit around this time. But also, considering that Dragon is around this time, Dragon is here and present. Later on, when we get Rox, Roger, and Garp, did Garp ever meet up with Dragon around this time? Did Garp ever cross paths with Dragon during any point of the God Valley events? That's what I'm curious about. Because if you got Dragon here, we know that Garp shows up later on down the line, but is Dragon still going to be there when Garp gets there? And what kind of interaction is that going to be like? Could we possibly see them temporarily fighting alongside of each other, but then Garp telling Dragon like, hey, you're still a rookie, you snot-nosed brat. You ain't ready for this stage yet. Get out of here. Because then Garp goes to team up with Roger to take down Rox. So, that possible prediction, possibly, we have yet to see it. But, yeah, man, this has been a good chapter. So, we see that Dragon is actually using his rifle, and Dragon is very hesitant to shoot. He's very hesitant because he doesn't want to harm innocent civilians as he sees it. Because what is the purpose of it? Like, you telling me we came here just to round up these people for slaughter due to the Celestials' orders, due to the nobles' actions and orders? You're telling me that we just came to round up these people and send them off to basically lose their lives? Like, nah, man, this isn't what I signed up for. I signed up to help others. I signed up to help the people. I signed up to be a Marine, So why are we, what is the purpose of all this? Now, later on, moving forward, we get a prison ship, and we also get the slaves that are currently coming on their way to God Valley. Now, they're taking people who already exist at God Valley. They're capturing the inhabitants of people who already exist at God Valley. Now you got Ivankov, Jenny, and Kuma all shown in a slave ship going to God Valley, a slave ship that is really driven by the Marines. The pull that these Celestials and Nobles have, I thank goodness for good Marines like Garp and also other good Marines who Garp surrounds himself with, even if they're not surrounded by him. I am grateful for good Marines because, one, with good Marines, man, you never have to worry about them getting corrupted in a sense. You don't really, because you see that they're genuinely about serving justice for the people. And when I say justice, I don't mean on some, you're gonna pay this fine or whatever, but pay this fine or suffer this consequence or whatever. They're genuinely trying to find ways to help the citizens wherever they go. So that's actually a big plus. Now, they're telling Ivankov to keep the noise down or whatnot because of what possibly might happen if one of the guards overhear them talking. They might get in trouble. They might get beat. They might get whipped. But then, if you let me see. Basically, Ivankov lets them know, yo, you actually what he wants it. Yeah. Let me see. What did he say? Yeah, he basically, Ivankov, because I had to pull it up, just to refresh keep me updated, because I did read it twice. We get Ivankov getting mad at one of the other slaves in the ship, talking about do you want to die with no knowledge of what it's like to fight for your life? You know what I'm saying? Like to live and fight and die for something, your freedom, You need to try if you want to be saved. That's I appreciate Ivankov in this chapter especially. I really do. Because Ivankov, even despite the circumstances of all of them being in shackles, you got Ivankov still trying to inspire hope by basically not being hopeless. He's not giving up. Despite whatever they may be going through right now, being enslaved and being sent to be hunted down for sport by these celestial pricks, you see that Ivankov is still holding on to his life. Ivankov is still holding on to his will to make it, because he's not going to just not question anything. He's not just going to not try to figure out what the hell is going on, and if he can, escape, you know, right? And just like same way with Jenny in a way, you know, Ivankov ain't gonna escape without Jenny or Kuma. But, you know, we know that he comes to meet Kuma. I guess he comes to, in his own way of accepting Kuma, you know, and leading him on to eat the pawpaw fruit, you know, that we later on, when we saw it in that episode. But yeah, man, Ivankov, Jenny, and Kuma, they're here as well. And then you got them all inside of a holding cell with other people. Now, what's so special about this, despite the fact that Kuma is a Buccaneer, what makes the other two so special that they needed to be hauled off and sent here to be slaughtered? You know, like, we're gonna learn more about the familial, I guess, the lineage background of Ivankov and Jenny, maybe later on in other chapters, because we're this close to finally getting the pre-kickoff to the God Valley fights. Let's just call it kickoff. So, yeah, this chapter has been amazing so far. This chapter has been hands down, nonstop amazing. Then you got Big News Morgans. Now, it's an island. There's a Cypher Pole Island. Their intelligence bureau or whatever. You got Big News Morgans actually threatening them to leak information to not only Hachinosu, but I guess the world in general, but more so Hachinosu, about basically the abduction of Shaki and everything that's going on. Bro, this man has his ear to the street, or ear to the seas. So Morgans has his ear to the seas. It doesn't matter where he is, where you are, whatever. If he hears big news, he's jumping on it, man. And I love this for Morgans because, one, we get a little bit of willpower, a glimpse at Morgan's willpower, because you see the agents casually threatening Morgan's like, yo, what makes you think we'll do this or that? We could just kill you, you know, for even knowing such information. And Morgan's like, go ahead, bring it on. I'll just leak it anyway. Like, either way, if you kill me, the information is going to get out there. The world will know. The world will know. So I'd say, you know, I used to hate Morgan's at first because some of his stories can be lies. Some of his stories can be fabricated, exaggerated to the point where it's like, okay, man, you need to sit down and just chill. Read your own papers and whatnot. Yes, man. But Morgan's not a shred of fear in his body. Morgan's is not afraid to die in this instance, or he's not afraid of their vague threats of killing him simply because he wants to pass out information, which he does pass out. I love that about him because, bro, he spilled the beans with this. Now, also back on Hachinosu, we learned that the Rocks Pirates are learning that Shaki is alive. We learned that they're also learning that she's being hunted for sport in the upcoming God Valley Rabbit Tournament. Now, Whitebeard says that he didn't think that these human hunting tournaments existed, that they were just rumors, but I guess he has developed a new sick taste in his mouth for celestial dragons, you know, as any man would. You got these guys out here really slaughtering people like it's like slaughtering people for sport. Slaughtering for sport, not like for crimes they committed where execution may be plausible, but you're just slaughtering people for sport, and on the strength that the country of God Valley did not want to join in connection with the government. They didn't want to take up their flag or whatever. Yet they had resources as well that the government, I guess, desperately needed. I wouldn't say desperately needed, but the government needed. And it was discovered by Garling that these resources were in abundance at God Valley. So he's a part of it too. Shame on you, Garling. You're still a jerk. You're still an a-hole. You're still a scumbag, Garling. I have no respect for Garling. None. Now, also, we see the Rocks talking. You know, they're talking about Shaki. Like I said, Whitebeard was surprised to find out that the human hunting games actually exist. But not just that. We get that Rocks is also announcing, like, yo, we're going after her. We're basically coming after her. But we find out that that was just a farce. That... We come to find out that that's merely a farce. Like Zebek, you know, trying to go after Shaki, it's a farce for who he's really going after in his real goal. But we'll get to that. We almost there. Now, we get a panel where we see Roger asking Scopper, like, how far is God Valley? Well, it's pretty far, but they can get there close. Like, They can make it in time. They'll cut the time. And then Roger reassuring his crew, asking for reassurance, basically like, hey, are y'all with me or what? Let's go. And you get Rayleigh and the rest of the crew saying, let's go. The fact that, listen to this, you know, Rayleigh said he didn't want Shockey, but seeing her kidnapped, it's clearly fired up some alternative feelings for Shockey that he now can like actually bring out. Because if you look at Rayleigh is like mad with excitement because he wants to go actually save her. And Rayleigh may have the attitude of I still don't want her, but at the same time, Shockey was cool with us, you know, despite her liking me and me not liking her like that romantically because I don't want to be tied down. Rayleigh still does not want to be Shockey taken. He does not want to see Shockey taken into celestial custody to be some type of slave. And when we learn about all of this, bro, it's actually a year later. So by the time Shockey was kidnapped, they don't go after her for another year. So Shockey was in the clutches. Shockey was in the clutches of the celestial dragons and nobles for an entire year, man. Just imagine that. Imagine imagine what they put her through, man. Like, but then again, who says they put her through anything because she was so beautiful, so they just paraded her around? But still, for those of them who took it to the extreme of cutting her flesh or abusing her, maiming her in any way, shame on you. But like, you know, I can see why the water is still, I guess, green. Yeah. I don't know where that came from. My bad, man. I'm tired, I guess. I don't know. But, man. Moving on, we get Rox and Harold actually meeting up on the seas during an interaction. Now, we see that Harold is saying that it wouldn't take much for him to just destroy Rox's ship, that puny thing. With my cannons and my size and everything we got, like, we could destroy your ship and sink you right here. Now, it's also the vessel. Bro, look at this. There's a panel where Harold is actually pointing out to Rox like, yo, you see this ship that's telling me it's a government alliance ship. But little does Harold know, at least to my knowledge, that's not a government alliance ship, man. They're keeping tabs on you to make sure you do your job. But also, that government alliance ship is literally spying on you to report back any information at all regarding your whereabouts and actions through the relationships you built outside of outside of Elbaf with the countries that you've established connection with. They're basically reporting all your moves and actions, Harold. That's not a government alliance ship. That's a government that's a government spy ship to basically keep tabs on you. And given that Harold was stabbed in the back by his own men in his castle, the men that you see in front of Harold as he folds his arm, the panel with Harold basically folding his arms in front of those soldiers that are in front of him, those are the soldiers who stabbed him in the back. Because remember, Loki discovered that he got stabbed by his own men. So his own men who are on this ship right now, and then you got the government, not alliance, I said it wrong, surveillance, yes. The government surveillance ship that's keeping tabs on Harold. They might have not only been keeping tabs on Harold, they could have been keeping tabs on Harold's guards, because who knows how much the government bribed them or manipulated them to basically turn on Harold's, and yet they wanted to make sure that they followed through with the manipulation or with the betrayal. So when we're finally going to see Harold in his throne room, I guarantee you, most of these guards that we see in front of Harold, we're going to see them stab him in his back. It's going to be sad. We're going to bawl our eyes out, but we're going to see where he gets stabbed in the back room. I really think they stabbed him in his back. I really think they betrayed him. This may not be my best video because I did this while being tired, but I'm fighting through it, man. Now, I love this next panel because we get a beautiful shot of Rox and the main big hitters of the crew. Three of the future Yonko we get a glimpse of right here. The way they're standing behind Rox is so goated. Like, you got Rox standing there with his arms crossed, but you got the three heaviest hitters on his crew basically standing behind him. Even though they got Kaido right there, something tells me that Shiki and Captain John, are still stronger than Kaido. I got a feeling, I'm not slacking or slouching Kaido's strength, but all I'm saying is by experience, I think Captain John and Shiki obviously outclassed Kaido with like sea experience and being out there as a pirate. but also as far as strength goes, maybe, you know. Now we get a panel with Rox and Harold sitting down, exchanging their last cups of sake together because, you know, their friendship ended and whatnot. Now we see that Shiki is actually mad about this because Shiki wants to get the Shaki. Shiki is anxious to get the Shaki. And earlier, a further hint at Wang Ji being the traitor, when we learned that Big News Morgan's actually leaked out the information that they're now talking about and on their way to pursue after in regards to getting Shaki back, you got Wang Ji questioning if it's a credible source. Now, even though Morgan's can fabricate and exaggerate in his stories, I still would call Morgan's a favorably question. Like, I still would consider Morgan's a favorable source. Like, you know, despite Morgan's having any type of, you know, propaganda in any story that he posts, you can still count on him as a reliable source for information. You know, you can't rule Morgan's out because Morgan's does be spilling the beans, man. Like Morgan's is very good at just giving us secrets and giving us tidbits or hints at secrets and making us question things as far as like the people in the world of One Piece is concerned. So during the interaction with Harold and Rox, we come to find out that Rox is revealed to be not Rox D. Zebic, but Davy D. Zebic. Davy D. Zebic. Rox is a descendant of Davy Jones. Blackbeard is a descendant of Davy Jones, man. And the thing is, the Davy name is supposed to be shrouded in secrecy. So they spend most of the time imposing their will on the world through the actions that they take in the underworld. So they basically, their realm is basically the underworld realm as far as like the underworld black market type of faction as far as like the seas and the world entity, the world itself is concerned. It's like they operate in the shadows in a way, basically to preserve the image, to preserve the lineage of their family name, you know, because he told his wife and son, have faith in the Davy family, have faith in the Davy name. Now, him telling Harold all this, I guess Harold finds his new empathy. You know, Harold finds a new sense of empathy, but also Harold refuses Rox's like request to come join him because one, Rox is on his way to lead the crew to get Shaki back, but his real reasons for going to God Valley is because his wife, his son are there. So Blackbeard was clearly born on God Valley, but now as far as the mom, we don't know if she was born on God Valley or not. Either way, she's a woman, or she's a woman and she could be a regular citizen that happened to stumble upon Rox and meet him. But Rox's family is in God Valley. So, you know, given what Rox was trying to do at God Valley, I completely understand, because think about this. Because if you read the chapter, you know what we're getting to later on down the line at the jail cells or whatever, man. With Rox having his family here, that puts the God Valley stakes even higher. Because one, they're trying to, Shaki is the catalyst and / excuse for Rox to go there and basically see his wife and kids and check on them. Because one, given that they're hosting a human hunting contest, you don't want your wife and kid involved in that. They're rounding up all the citizens and the inhabitants there, which means that your wife and kid could be subject to this type of torture. Of course you're gonna go there. You may not tell the whole world your secret as far as like the people on your crew and whatnot, but you are gonna go there to save Shaki and kill two birds in one stone by saving your own family as well, because you don't want them getting harmed. You don't want them suffering at all through that. Because one, I feel for Rox. Like I still wouldn't put Rox above Roger as far as greatness, but it's very comparable. It's very comparable. But like if you neck and neck with each other, man. I mean, I think Rox has greater feats as we're seeing now. You know, so I think Rox has much greater feats. You know, Rox like essentially is just pulling out all the stops as far as a character. Now, we know that his name, the Davy name, carries influence in the underworld, even though it's barely scraping by. But the Davy clan is supposed to be a secret clan. Basically a clan that should no longer exist, given the fact that Davy D. Jones was more than likely erased by Emu. So, trying to basically keep that name secret, you know, you want to do your best to do that, because you don't need anybody blabbing off and gossiping to the wrong person who could send either bandits or bad people after you, or the government itself. But the Davy clan, man, like, what I love about learning about these new clans and new family of D's is that when we get to the ancient kingdom, I'm pretty sure we're going to see the entire D clan, but we're also going to see sub-segments of D families, like different type of Ds. The Davy clan, the Monkey clan, the Trafalgar clan, the, what other clan could there be? I'm trying to think. The Porkis clan, because that's another faction of the D's. Porkis D Rouge, Porkis D, you know. The D clan consists of multiple sub-segments of D families. So I guarantee we're going to see in the ancient kingdom, like, I have no doubt that we're going to see the Davy clan play a major role in the ancient kingdom, as well as the Nefertaris as well, man, the Nefertari clan. So this Davy reveal is major, because I just gotta, like, Blackbeard is a descendant of Davy Jones. And the thing is, Davy Jones' real name was Davy D. Jones. Man, I gotta see an interaction with him and Joy Boy. And what I'm thinking is this: what Joy Boy was back then, right? Was Davy D. Jones what Rox is now back then? Like, was Davy Jones trying to complete the same mission that the world conquest for world domination? Was Davy D. Jones on that type of time when he basically, I guess, set out to sea? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know. We're going to find out. But that's more of his character to be fleshed out. So, we get... Oh, yeah. And also, they basically... it was we learned that this is coming... We learned that this is connecting by fate. Rox is going to God Valley. The Celestial Dragons manipulating the God Valley incidents behind it. You know, everything with the events going on. We learn that this is all coming to fate, because Harold questions whether or not the government is using this as a trap to lure him in. But Rox basically lets him know, like, nah, they wouldn't want him crashing that type of gathering, that party involving the Celestials and whatnot. It just wouldn't go down like that. That's not how they would want it. But this is all, they made a mistake, but this mistake is guided by fate. Fate is bringing all these factions together, and on this great day of fate, the greatest battle that we have yet to see so far, aside from the final war, one of the greatest battles that we have yet to actually see, which we're going to see, happen to take place. And it all got started from the catalyst of the treasure of Hachinosu, Shaki, being taken, and then the family lineage of the Davy clan, or what's left and being carried on through the Sir of the Davy clan, Rox, all inhabiting this place. So God Valley is just beautiful, man. We also get another fight between Harold and Rox, man, and Harold loses on purpose, but you see a big explosion, man, taking place. So they clearly started scrapping. Let me see. Yeah, they basically, yeah, like I said earlier, man, Rox tries to recruit Harold one more time, and it ends up in them trying to kill each other damn near. But Harold, I think Harold did this because the surveillance ship was watching, and the surveillance ship would have to report, yeah, he's been trying to take him down, but Rox prevailed. Rox beat him. So what do you want us to do? You want us to still keep tabs on him? Because he failed. He technically failed. So now we got to deal with the ramifications of his failure by watching Rox go to God Valley and set things off and disrupt, you know what I'm saying, the the hierarchy of government and the preparations for whatever plans they have on this island, and furthermore, just upsetting the status quo continuously. So as we see at God Valley, as we get to God Valley, man, we see that the punk celestial dragons, the cowards that they are, they got Shocky chained up. They got everybody around, gathered around, wooing over her. They're announcing the prizes. They're basically saying that we got a buccaneer, damn near, you know what I'm saying? We got a buccaneer tribe in the rabbit hunt. We also discovered what was that? Yeah, they got rare devil fruits. They have like, let me see. And let me see. Bro, Shocky looks destroyed. Even though Shocky appears fine, she looks unharmed, but we can clearly see that Shocky is just annoyed being at this place, bro. Like, Shocky is pissed off. Like, it may not see it, but she is pissed off. She's yearning to be saved. And we're going to get, Rayleigh is going to do that. We're going to get that. Now, I just got to go to this panel because it says that the tournament features several super rabbits to hunt. Hold on. The tourney features several super rabbits to hunt from like a brat from the Buccaneer tribe, Kuma. But look at this. Look at this. For the first time in 800 years, they have members of the Davy clan. So no members of the Davy clan have been spotted in over 800 years. No members at all. Yet they're being hosted in this tournament as prizes to be won. Now, I'm going to come back to that, but real quick, we also get a panel with the woman, with Shanks and Shamrock's mother, bleeding inside some shack because she managed to scurry away. This might be her home. I don't know if it's her home, or it might be just some random shack. But Dragon, he follows a puddle of blood trail. And he actually sees that it's he doesn't know that it's Shanks and Shamrock's mother, but he sees that it's a woman who was clearly wounded, wounded to death, on the brink of death, and her death, approaching her deathbed. She says, "Do not let that bastard have them. Please, you got to help me. Get my kids up out of here." Dragon is gonna be saving Shanks and Shamrock. So, given Dragon's actions, we're gonna see how Shanks and Shamrock got separated. We're gonna see why each baby ended up where they were. And also, given that Shanks ended up in a treasure chest, and this more than likely now being confirmed due to Dragon's actions, what was inside the treasure chest? What was in there? You know? We have yet to find out, man. And I think it was Dragon's devil fruit. So we're gonna come back and talk about this another time. I gotta get up out of here. I gotta cut this review short. This has been an amazing chapter. Also, we got Garling bantering with Sommers, because Sommers wants to make Shocky a slave. Garling wants to basically make her his wife, which is why he stabbed old girl, his baby mama. And then after that, I'm coming. Then after that, we got Gunko. We got Gunko in this chapter with longer hair. So I'm very curious about that and who that person is talking next to her, because they're saying that they might have a better chance to win now that they have Gunko. So who knows what's gonna happen in this tourney. This we got to witness. Unfortunately, what we're about to witness in this rabbit hunting tournament is about to be very critical. But I'm going to talk about this in the aftermath later on. That's all I got for now. Remember, this is JD Rich. A piece of life is life in one piece. Peace. We got much more to discuss. Much more.